Hello there, everyone, and welcome to the segment titled The State of the World in 2023, A Concerned Citizen's View. My name is Dr. Ali Hashmi, and Idiom Optima is my channel. Today is September 23rd, 2023, and if you like what you see, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel so we remain in touch. The state of the world in 2023 is a complex topic because it's the confluence of many issues and challenges. It may be that each of us is capable of drawing our own images as we see different realities and are in different locations. We also have distinct personal histories and are, to varying degrees, prisoners to our worldviews. But I know there's going to be a lot of overlap in how we each map the state of the world today. As a global citizen, I'm concerned about how we are navigating these times. In principle, I want my account to be one of observation, description, analysis, extrapolation, and eventually prescription. However, life is often messy and it's sometimes easy to jump to conclusions without going through rigorous and principled demonstrations. As a world citizen, I believe in the public or common good. Our human pursuits must be geared towards benefiting society as a whole and not a select group of peoples, nations, or blocks. This, however, is easier said than done, and I'm not putting myself to the test. You may understand that the picture I'm painting looks all doom and gloom. This is not me. I'm not an alarmist, and I do not wish to proclaim that we are on an apocalyptic roller coaster. Properly husbanded and managed, humanity's resources may make for a decent life for all. The problem is that resources are and have always been unequally owned, even under the regimens that most fervently declare themselves egalitarian. The truth is that most of the planet's inhabitants do not even own these resources, nor do they have a say in how they are used, distributed, or stored for posterity. Without any further ado, let's dive in. 1. The state of artificial intelligence and the risk of the singularity. Historically, new inventions such as fire, the wheel, the Gutenberg press, electricity, the steam engine, the computer, and the internet came as gigantic disruptors. However, humanity weathered them and rode on their crest to register positive impacts benefiting everyone. Not so for AI as we know it today. Of course, some of us leverage AI to great advantage, but its ramifications are broad, deep, and yet not yet fully explored. We'll touch upon how it has displaced and replaced many jobs later, but this is only a start. When I speak about AI, I do not talk about applications like IBM's Deep Blue dethroning Garry Kasparov, the world chess champion, in 1997. Nor am I talking about Google's AlphaGo beating the most intelligent human players in the Chinese board game Go in 2015. Sophisticated as these programs may be, they are only softwares specialized in one thing or another. They are computations that can be parked and will stay where they are because they have no volition, conscience, or wants. They will remain simple instances of artificial narrow intelligence. Think of them as logs that do not fire up until humans operate them. Even in this status, they create impossible bars for humans. We can no longer read them, but they remain in the realm of objects. In its more advanced form, artificial narrow intelligence becomes artificial general intelligence and later artificial superintelligence. When this happens, they will have surpassed human intelligence in broader fields of work than AlphaGo, for example. Most experts agree that we are not yet there, at least not officially. Certainly, large language models such as OpenAI's ChatGPT, Google's Palm, and Meta's Llama are not yet sentient, or at least we tend to think so. Large language models, by the way, are deep learning algorithms that can recognize, summarize, translate, predict, and generate content without using very large data sets. granted, large language models can churn out elegant text of all types, sometimes with hallucinations, but they do not have a mind or volition. As is, they do not threaten humans' control over them. Now, though, generative AI giants, Microsoft, Google, Meta, X, Stable Diffusion, and others, are locked in an AI race as to who will produce the most potent AI systems. I doubt that any of them would consider pausing giant AI experiments, as many recommend in their open letter published by the Future of Life Institute. Left unchecked, these firms will surprise us with self-learning neural networks that far exceed the intelligence of the smartest human beings. This point is called the singularity. Singularity happens when, with AI acquiring and then surpassing the entire gamut of human mental capabilities and functions and becoming godlike in its power and capability. I'm quoting. The jury is out on what happens when we cohabit the earth with systems that surpass us in intelligence. Whether or not we will be able to align these intelligent systems with our requirements is anyone's guess. Some even suspect that smart AI systems may go rogue. We wish our interests as humans sharing the planet and the universe are embedded into neural networks that these systems train and give birth to. But this is only a wish. Human workers may well be on their way to being displaced, and the ensuing questions are many and complicated. What percentage? How will the rest of us cater to our needs? What is the likelihood of a universal basic income? Point 2. The post-truth world and democracy at risk. There is, of course, a direct link between the development of AI and what we now refer to as the post-truth world. We live in currents and countercurrents of declarations, positions, and analyses. Every day and every hour, we hear a statement and its opposite. The line between news and fake news is blurred. It looks like fake news is as much of a legitimate business as the real news. Truths, partial truths, and untruths populate cyberspace. These are industries in their own right, and it is unclear that they cater to the public good. Different news outlets and social media are beholden to their owners and sponsors who have other interests. And whatever they disseminate on the airwaves or cyberspace is meant to bolster a specific position and attack its opposites. Whatever happened to the global code of ethics and the right of the public to truth? I compare the media to a bazaar with countless shops displaying information, misinformation, and disinformation. Given that we swim in a time of news and counter-news, we, the citizens of the world, are not going to be able to discern truths from untruths. Deepfakes lead the way. Not to say anything about conspiracy theories. With most of us focused on earning a living for ourselves and our families, how are we supposed to grapple with the avalanche of stories that tell us a plot is being hatched here and there by individuals, companies, labs, governments, organizations, and the world government? Here are some such conspiracies. COVID-19 vaccines aim to control the world's population. COVID-19 vaccines contain tracking microchips. Global warming is a hoax. The 9/11 terror attacks are theater. The deep state is a state within a state that manipulates the politics of government and government of a nation. The world is only one step away from disaster. We no longer know what to believe in, and in the words of the celebrated Irish poet William Butler Yeats, things fall apart, the sender cannot hold, mere anarchy is loosed upon the world. The presumed hold of AI combines with the loss of trust in information and meaning on a scale far greater than humanity has known since its inception. Humans are outsourcing their affairs to artificial intelligence. Governments, too, are no longer in a position to govern. forces more nefarious are at work. The democratic process is in jeopardy because it too is subject to manipulation by internal and global actors that can leverage algorithms to sway public opinion and elections one way or another. So even with a seeming democracy and its accessories, free elections and a peaceful transfer of power, we are no longer sure that the process is fair. Point 3. Ongoing conflicts and humanitarian crises. The ongoing conflicts and humanitarian crises worldwide draw a global map that is starting to resemble the one formed during the Second World War, the Allies against the Axis. With the Russia-Ukraine conflict, BRICS versus G7 or G20, and the US-China quibbling over Taiwan, different sides are engaging in a power struggle destabilizing global peace. However, these are not the only conflicts worldwide. Wars are raging in several regions, including the Middle East, Asia, and Europe. Non-state actors are also adding to the complexity of the conflicts. Some act independently, pursuing their own interests, while others work with governments to pursue shared goals. The advanced weapons industry, including the space army, increases the risk of escalating conflicts. Cyber attacks are on the rise, devastatingly affecting infrastructure and economies. Conflicts over resources, including water, oil, and land, have often fueled armed conflicts. Additionally, the skyrocketing prices of wheat and other essential commodities have resulted in food shortages, leading to humanitarian crises worldwide. Many cannot put food on the table in many parts of the world. Extreme poverty, as defined by the United Nations, is rampant. Currently, 1 billion people live under $1 a day. That is 1/10 of the global population. Under more encompassing definitions, poverty means much more than abysmally low income. It covers access to social services, freedom of expression, the ability to choose, including your representatives, and decent work opportunities. For the World Bank, people could be house poor, or food poor, or health poor. In industrialized countries and elsewhere, homelessness is rampant. The situation is made worse with the narcotics pandemic destroying the very fabric of society and street violence exacerbating the living conditions for all. Watch a few videos of life on the streets in developed and third world cities, and you will have a foretaste of what I'm talking about. Point 4. Climate change and environmental degradation. Climate change poses untold consequences for our planet and its inhabitants. I guess I'd have to espouse my share of conspiracy theories when I report that global warming is one of the most pressing concerns for humanity to grapple with. Scientists have identified an increase of 1.5 degrees Celsius as a critical tipping point. We now face increased extreme events such as flooding, droughts, wildfires, and food shortages. The impact is already being felt around the world. Reuters reports that Spain experienced its driest start to a year in 2023, with Catalonia and Andalusia facing the severest water shortage since 1960. In East Africa, drought has had its toll on the lives and the livelihoods of over 40 million people starting in 2020. The consequences are there for all to see. Food insecurity is bringing millions and millions closer to famine levels in Somalia, Kenya, and Ethiopia, for example. Droughts and wildfires are twins. Last month, on August 8, 2023, the island of Hawaii witnessed devastating wildfires that razed about 80% of the historic town of Lahaina. Mind you, this happened in a country with the most sophisticated firefighting infrastructure. Flooding is another alarming manifestation of climate change. After hitting parts of Greece, Bulgaria, and Turkey, Storm Daniel hit the city of Derna in eastern Libya big time. The city is still reeling under its effects. About 1/4 of the town has been swept to sea. Conservative estimates now indicate 3,300 people dead and up to 10,000 people missing and over 43,000 displaced by floods. Rising sea levels resulting from the disintegration of ice caps is another real concern. The breakaway on Sunday, January 22nd, 2023, of an iceberg from the Brunt Ice Shelf in Antarctica underscores the far-reaching consequences of global warming. The iceberg is reportedly the size of Greater London, approximately 1,550 square kilometers. Once it and other similar icebergs have melted, we should prepare ourselves for large-scale evacuations of low-lying coastal cities. Conclusions. How do we navigate the storm? As I read and reread this blog, I ask myself, where are the rays of hope in this account? I have listed quite a few critical elements, including the AI storm and the singularity, the truth-untruth quagmire, the anti-democratic outlook, the expanding perimeter of wars with ensuing human suffering, global warming and its impacts, and a host of other severe pain points. The image can be flipped by saying progress is still being registered in every field. But it is difficult to stop shy of the precipice ahead unless we take a deep breath, convene, and rethink where we're heading. Now, those who oppose a period of reflection where the two-legged can find their bearings will kill the idea in the bud by stating that if we stop to weigh the pros and cons, to convene and to debate, the other party, another party, whichever it may be, won't wait and will find it nifty to proceed without building guardrails to prevent us from descending into civilizational abyss. Meanwhile, progress and peril are dancing a delicate dance. Let us remember that we're all stewards on this earth. We are responsible to varying extents for our collective future. I certainly hope governments, intercontinental corporations, and NGOs can act. Still, it behooves every one of us to raise the issues, not necessarily to agree with the central premises of this blog, but to learn to develop a voice for ourselves as concerned citizens. Of course, we're all entitled to pursue our goals for progress. Such goals are and will always be legitimate for nations, individuals, and groupings, and anything in between. But we must walk the talk of truthfulness, fairness, sustainability, and social responsibility. Together, we can navigate the storm.